Fools. This is what we have been searching for all these years. This is what we have been waiting for. Don't listen to them. Come back!
And you're watching WGS-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the WrestleGamer, Double B, Billy Boudreaux, being joined by the host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, which can be heard exclusively on Spreaker.com/HWR Media. He is the Illuminous One, the Shining Star, Rick Star. Rick, how are you shining today?
I'm shining pretty good, Billy, and so is the sun on this beautiful day. How you doing, Billy?
Oh, yes, it is indeed a very beautiful day, no matter where you are. And, well, we're going to be talking about yesterday's Monday Night Raw for the week of May 20th, 2013. First off, I want to apologize for getting this up so late. Apparently, yeah, all I'm going to say is at the end of Monday Night Raw, I fell asleep. And I went back and I watched the ending to it on YouTube here, and there was a good reason why I went to sleep. And we'll get to that when we get to it. The opening of Monday Night Raw this week, we saw an ambulance come out. Of course, we all remember about Extreme Rules, John Cena and Ryback, and everything that happened like that. But out comes Ryback out of the back of the ambulance, and then starts to cut a promo about challenging John Cena to an ambulance match at Payback. And Rick, I will say this though, for the few amount of times we've gotten to hear a Ryback promo, I gotta say that when he was cutting this one, I think he did, for his experience on the microphone, it's got to be one of his better ones.
Yeah, he did all right on this one. To be honest with you, but I'm gonna be honest with you. He came out in the dress up that he did for a second. I had to do a double take because he almost looked like Bully Ray from TNA. It just did. I don't know what his get up is, because every time he has to change his mock up, and it's like, I mean, he had the black leather vest, he had the jeans. I'm almost looking for like the leather chain around his neck. I'm like, really? I'm like,
Well, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 because, like I said, this was one of his better promos.
It was a good promo. Absolutely, I agree with you.
Well, Rick, the opening match for this week on Monday Night Raw, it was a tag match that featured the Miz and Chris Jericho taking on Fandango and Wade Barrett, and we did notice something very unique about Wade Barrett's entrance yesterday, Rick.
Yeah, actually we did. It was hold on. Yeah, Wade Barrett actually came out with some new music, and I'm not really sure if I really care for it, to be honest with you. So it's not sure what they're trying to do with Wade. I'm not sure it's going to help him get him out of that rut. But we'll have to soon see. Billy?
Do you kind of feel that well, this will probably be a discussion for a later video, but the fact that they've had Wade Barrett change his music so many times. But I will say that the current music he had kind of fit the bare knuckles fighter gimmick. This new one, I'm not so sure about, but we'll save that for a later video. As far as this matchup goes, apparently Fandango was really more interested dancing on the outside than actually participating in this tag match against Miz and Chris Jericho, and Wade Barrett just apparently took offense to that, but he ended up being on the receiving end of not only the code breaker from Chris Jericho, but the finale of the match, Miz applying once again the figure 4 leg lock, forcing Wade Barrett to tap out and get the victory. But as soon as the match was over, Miz and Jericho saw what Fandango was doing then and tried to surround Fandango, and Fandango at that point in time decided discretion was the better part of valor and just hopped over the security railing, leaving Summer Rae out to dry. Now we've seen this before with Jericho and Summer Rae. They were doing that little dance thing, and then next thing it looked like they were leaning forward, and then they were about to kiss, and then Jericho just gave her the hand in the face and saying, gotcha. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I really want to see. I really wanted to see a better tag match than that, but I think the stuff outside with Jericho and Summer Rae kind of made up for it, Rick. You know.
You know what? I kind of got to disagree with you because I'm like, what is the point of this? This is really just, this is supposed to be wrestling, not Dancing with the fucking Stars. So I got to disagree with you, Billy. It was very distracting. It was just very like, what's the point of this? Secondly, Wade Barrett's supposed to be the IC champion, and they're really making him look like a total fucking jobber. I know I'm saying the F bomb, and I know this isn't hardcore wrestling radio, but plug. But still, it's just how I feel, and it's just really, really for an opening match, and for a man, Wade Barrett, who they really pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. They seem to be pushing somebody else, and they're just throwing him to the dogs.
Mm.
I got to give it. I'll give it a 2.5, 2.75. I don't know what they're doing with the WWE lately.
Well, speaking of which, the next matchup, the inception of it came from the words of Titus O'Neil on the post show, and apparently it got wind to Sheamus, and now we had a matchup now between Sheamus and Titus O'Neil, and it was pretty much cut and dry. Sheamus hit the bro kick on Titus O'Neil and got the victory. But for something like that, I really wanted to see something better. But I think they probably were just using this as a filler match for what was going to come up next. I'm going to go cut and dry, 2.5 out of 5. But up next, it was a big speculation, Rick, over who's going to be the new Paul Heyman guy. I mean, there were names were flying out there, and I know one name that you heard on the grapevine was Rob Van Dam.
Everybody was saying it was RVD, and you know what? I'm going to tell you straight up. For those of you listening, I was saying no, 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 no. I'm going to tell you why. Personally, for one main reason, Rob Van Dam does not need a mouthpiece like Paul Heyman. Why? Because for one, Rob Van Dam gets over no matter where he goes. That's for one. Two, I don't think Rob Van Dam is going to come to the WWE because for one, Rob Van Dam, like yours truly, likes to smoke a lot of weed. But that's enough. But enough said. I can make another discussion point as to why Rob Van Dam won't come to the WWE. But we'll move on. I just don't think he's coming. So.
Your reactions to the big reveal. It turns out it was Michael McGillicuddy. Now, when Joe Hennig first came into the WWE, he took the name McGillicuddy because, if I remember correctly, that's his mother's maiden name is
Yeah.
McGillicuddy, and he wanted to pay homage to that. But I will say this though: when they turned it around and named him Curtis Axel to honor both not only his father but his grandfather, Larry the Axe Hennig, I really thought that was to me it was a very, very, I want to say, respectful thing, because you not only are you paying homage to the Hennig family by having Joe Hennig there, but now you renamed him in honor of both his father and his grandfather. I gotta say that was a very respectful move by the WWE.
Well, I understand that was by the WWE, but not by him. Apparently, from what the word is, um, uh, whatever the guy's real name is, I don't know what his
Joe
name.
Hennig.
Joe Henning. From what I understand, he does not get along with it well with his father. That's the rumor. I don't know if that's true or not. So to call him Curtis, he must be like screaming. You can tell just the look. He's like, I hate this fucking name. But it is what it is. Now he's being branded like a horse. That's what the WWE does. But it is what it is. If it's gonna get him over, so be it.
Yeah.
Hopefully the new name will work for him. I don't know. This is like the second shot. I mean, as far as the last name McGillicuddy, hell, I couldn't even spell McGillicuddy. And to type that name out, I'm just glad they changed it. It's easier for me to type out.
Triple H comes out in this promo, Rick. Go ahead and talk about what happened with this promo with Triple H, Curtis Axel. I was going to say Kurt Hennig, but Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman.
So Triple H comes to the ring and he pretty much talks to Paul Heyman and pretty much says, "What I'd like to do is kick your ass." And then, Curtis Axel pretty much gets in Triple H's face and says, "What I would really like to do," goes, "Hey, the landscape has changed." Who said that? I'm sorry. Somebody else said that. I don't know who, but we Actually, everybody's said that before. But anyway, moving on. Triple H just smiles at him and pretty much bitch slaps him right to the mat. And Triple H says, I got a better idea. What I'm going to do, Paul, what I'd like to do is fight this guy, Curtis. He goes, and then I'm going to kick the shit out of you afterwards. And walks away. Not a bad segment. I'll give it a 3.
Next matchup on Monday Night Raw this week was E Langston and Alberto Del Rio. Now, I believe the purpose of this match was actually to kind of start the build between Del Rio and Ziggler, with, of course, E Langston and AJ, the known associates of Dolph Ziggler. I will say this: E Langston looked very impressive. You know, he's really starting to show me a little bit something. I wish he showed me something more than just clapping his hands and magically producing cocaine. But the finale of the match, you know, we saw Alberto Del Rio about to apply the cross arm breaker, and then for some reason AJ takes the bucket with the towel that Ricardo Rodriguez had and throws it in the ring, distracting Alberto Del Rio. E Langston capitalizes and applies the big ending finisher and pins the former World Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio. Now, in any other instance, I would say for you to be put over by a former World Heavyweight Champion was really a big thing. It would mean a lot in a wrestling industry, no matter what company you were in. Rick, for some reason, in this case, I think it just doesn't mean diddly squat.
Well, for someone like Big E Langston to get put over on him, I have to disagree with you. He's slowly moving up the ranks.
Well, I can see your point now. You know, kind of solidifying Langston's spot in the WWE, having someone like Alberto Del Rio saying, you know what, you earned your spot. You're good in my eyes. I'm going to let you go over on me.
Yeah, to go over on him, yes, but to be as far as to get any spot in a number one contenders, absolutely not. No. Does that mean he's a number one contender? Contendership? No. And see, that's the problem with the WWE. That's the thing that they haven't figured out. There's nothing wrong with guys going over with guys and guys beating other, bigger guys.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't. That doesn't, and they can still be, they can still have their spots. You know what I mean? That's why, I hate to say, the landscape is the way it is. That's why jobbers never get ahead or move up. And you know what I mean? We have it's such a shitty landscape. We have only 2 or 3 big guys, and all the rest are jobbers. It sucks.
Score on this match, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Next up, we had AJ Lee and Layla. It's getting to the point now where the only time we see AJ Lee wrestle is when she comes out as a valet in the previous match. But Rick, we saw that once again, that unique submission hold of AJ, and I'm hearing some people calling it like the Black Widow or something like that.
Yeah, it's called like a Black Widow. It's a variation of an octopus hold, but it's not that bad of a hold. And Layla actually got to tap out in a very peculiar way, didn't she?
Yeah, on the I'm gonna be blunt, right on her ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like tap, 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 and then I think an involuntary squeeze.
Well, I think we saw the squeeze, but
we dreamt the squeeze. We dreamt.
Yeah, we dreamt it. But it is what it is.
Yeah, never before in wrestling. I've never seen like Triple H tap out Chris Benoit. Ooh, I know that's a taboo name to say in wrestling today, but you know what? Screw it. It's my YouTube channel, my YouTube show, and if I'm gonna say Chris Benoit's name, I'm gonna fucking say it. But you never saw Triple H tap out to Chris Benoit by tapping out on his ass, because I think that would be too awkward. However, when 2 divas do it, to me, for some reason, it's sociably acceptable. You know what I mean?
Actually, more than sociably acceptable, it turns you on. Who are we kidding?
How would you score that divas match, Rick?
Just in the tapping on the ass, a 5.0.
Okay, well, next up we had a match between Cody Rhodes and Zack Ryder, which, pardon me, with Cody Rhodes winning. I wish one of the, I don't. This is what I read on Facebook. One of the commentators said this was a big win for Cody Rhodes, but since when is getting a big win over the internet champion Zack Ryder considered a big win? I just don't understand the point of that. I can understand them trying to put over Cody Rhodes like that in that facet, in that form, but I would say, it would be better suited for someone like if you went over on The Miz or Randy Orton or Chris Jericho. On Zack Ryder, I kind of got to disagree with that. But next up, we see Ryback come up and start attacking Zack Ryder, gives him the meat hook clothesline, power bombs him, gives him the shell shock, and then I guess in a preview of what could be in store for the ambulance match, just deposits Zack Ryder in the ambulance, which was still there, and the ambulance takes off with Zack Ryder in it. Um, I got to go 3 out of 5. Like I said, it wasn't anything special. I didn't see anything wrong with it, except for the fact that the commentators need to learn how to properly. It's either that or whoever was in the gorilla position back in the WWE and told one of them to say it. They need to realize that Zack Ryder ain't exactly high up on WWE hierarchy, if you can kind of get what I'm saying. But next up, Rick, we had a very interesting 6-man tag. It was the Shield, the newly crowned United States champion Dean Ambrose, the tag team champions Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, taking on the former tag team champions Team Hell No and the former United States champion Kofi Kingston. Key thing we need to know, let everybody know about this match, Rick, because before we actually started this commentary, I was actually on the phone talking to the GCW Hardcore Champion Ashton Spears about this matchup, and he. Now we both mentioned the fact the spot where Daniel Bryan was clotheslining Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins was flipping over, and it looked like he was landing on his head. And if he had landed flush on his head during that spin, it would have broke his neck. But from what Mr. Spears told me, he was able to slow it down, and you saw that Seth Rollins actually landed with his shoulder first. Then his head hit the mat during the spin. But he firmly believes that, like I did, Rick, if Seth Rollins would have landed head first during that spin, his career would be over. Along with his ability to walk.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because that was, it had disaster written all over it, but he was able to come away with it with flush. But talk a little bit more about this match, Rick.
Well, that was just, like I said, it was a great match. It was really just, it kind of, with a 6-man match is kind of really hard to call, because it really is, even like a Texas Tornado match, it really is just chaos all over the place. If I'm not mistaken, I know that, I believe, I know that Kane was the one who got pinned. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Off a spear by Roman Reigns.
Thank you. I do remember that. I know that earlier in the night, it was Daniel Bryan who was complaining that he was worried about being the weak link, worried about the weak link. So, to be honest with you, I thought he was the one who was going to be pinned. I'm like, oh, I can just see where this is going. I thought he was going to be, WWE being a little predictable, thought he was going to be pinned, but they flipped it. They had Kane being pinned. Nice little way to flip it. So he wasn't, so Daniel Bryan wasn't even a factor. And, interesting point. So yeah, they had Kane being pinned.
Your score?
Not a bad match. Not a bad match. I have to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Along with a possible neck brace for Seth Rollins.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to tell you, the more and more I watch Rollins, the more and more I become a fan of him.
Exactly. Now, earlier in the night, we had the announcement of a Raw active poll. Who would you like to see Jack Swagger face on Monday Night Raw? Your choices were The Great Khali, R-Truth, Randy Orton. Yeah, I mean, who's the bigger superstar of the three? Randy Orton. So the fans went with Randy Orton. And this was an okay match. Randy Orton, of course, gets the victory with the RKO over Jack Swagger. I guess maybe to kind of push Jack Swagger to the side maybe a little bit. I'm not sure. But Rick, like I said, cut and dry, 3 out of 5. I can't say nothing bad about it. Can't say nothing wrong with it either. But Main event. Now, this is something we need to we need to note upon as backstage before this match started, Triple H was approached by one of the ringside doctors, I think, or
Yeah.
and he said that they strongly advised him not to compete, and Triple H kind of used his position in the WWE saying, you know, if this doctor would still like to have a job in the WWE, he better clear me, and that's ended up what happening. And well, talk about the main event, Rick.
Triple H pretty much comes out and he pretty much is dominating with at first, almost a little problem. Then you can start seeing him starting to shake off. I mean, he's doing his stuff spine buster, shaking it rough, and you can see, oh god, you know where it's going.
Yeah.
And slowly but slowly, he's starting to get real dizzy. And of course, towards the end of the match, he's getting to the point where he can barely even stand up. And the match pretty much ends out where all the doctors are like, Triple H, what's going on? He can't stand up. He can't even do nothing. So they're drinking him water. No, he's not spitting it out and doing his little spit. He's just like, and it pretty much fades to black with him covering him and talking to him. Triple H, you okay? Hunter. And, of course, all, reporters and, they're all covering him. And all, the place has gone deathly silent. So.
Now there was an exclusive on the WWE app they put up on WWE.com. What happened on there?
Pretty much the same thing. It's also on my Facebook page. Where Triple H is they're all covering him and saying that he can't remember the match. He can't remember the, his new name,
Michael McGillicuddy's name.
Michael McGillicuddy's new name. Can't remember the match. Vaguely remember what day it was. It goes, it's Monday, right? Stuff like that. And again, there were like fans, concerned, like really believed it was real. No, for those of you who are listening, it was not real. It was an angle. Triple H is fine. They're using this to write him off. So.
Or possibly, but there are likely other scenarios. But I think we'll save that for maybe a possible discussion later on in the week as to what we think might happen with the usage of Triple H and Curtis Axel. Overall score Monday Night Raw this week, guys and gals, it's going to get a 3.5 out of 5 from me. The opening with Ryback on top of the ambulance, that promo, I got to say, was one of the best I've seen from Ryback, even though some people kind of disagree with the fact that he was reminding them so much of Goldberg. But who's being used more right now, Ryback or Goldberg? You kind of get where I'm going with that. The tag match with Miz and Chris Jericho defeating Wade Barrett and Fandango. I guess the feud with Jericho and Fandango will continue on, despite despite the content of their Extreme Rules match being okay, the finish of it being great, but the fact that it was at an Extreme Rules pay-per-view kind of didn't fit. Sheamus defeating Titus and Neil, again, that was cut and dry. The reveal of Curtis Axel, a.k.a. Michael McGillicuddy, a.k.a. Joe Hennick, a.k.a. him. But anyway, I thought it was a good promo. Big E Langston defeating Alberto Del Rio. Again, two things were accomplished in this match. One, it kind of solidifies Big E Langston's spot in the WWE when you put over by someone who's a former World Heavyweight Champion like Alberto Del Rio. And former WWE Champion, too. But this was more along the lines of building the feud and the angle between Del Rio and Ziggler by having one of your known associates, Big E Langston, defeat the #1 contender. The matchup with AJ Lee and Layla, only in my dreams I thought I would ever see one of the Divas tap out to another one right on the butt cheek, and they made it a reality last night. Cody was defeating Zack Ryder, and then Ryback attacking Zack Ryder, putting him in the ambulance. Again, all a preview for probably what's in store for the ambulance match. The Shield defeating Team Hell No and Kofi Kingston. Seth Rollins very, very, very lucky not to come away with a broken neck from that match. I gotta say that. I mean, it looked bad. It looked bad, but when you slow it down, you see the shoulder coming down first before the head. If that shoulder does not come down, Seth Rollins is in a hospital bed right now as we speak. Randy Orton defeating Jack Swagger. I thought it was okay. And then the ending with Triple H and Curtis Axel reminded me so much of the feud back in the day between Eddie Guerrero and John Bradshaw Layfield, where Eddie Guerrero comes into the tag match, he starts kicking butt, then all of a sudden he gets this weird dizzying look on his face and then just lies down, doesn't move. In a sense, that's what they tried to do with Triple H and Curtis Axel. So my overall score, it's at a 3.5 out of 5. Rick, your overall score and thoughts?
Curtis Axel, I'm going to start with him. This is pretty much his second shot at, a chance for a new brand. The first one just did not work at all. He came in and he flopped. Hopefully he's going to now use his father's name to try to, to get some chance at glory. He's even using his father's name, his father's music. I'm sorry, excuse me, to get some kind of glory. If he doesn't even use the perfect plex, well, then he's gonna be in trouble. So let's see what happens. We're really gonna have to see him in action to really sell, for him to really sell, because he didn't really sell last night, as far as I'm concerned. Last night was all about Triple H. It wasn't about him. The overall score for me last night, Raw still wasn't no better than the pay-per-view, Extreme Rules. I'll have to give it a 3 out of 5.
So what we want to know now from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. Rick, where can fans check you out on HWR?
Of course, they can always find me on my Facebook page. That's facebook.com/hardcore wrestling radio. And of course, if you ever want to listen to any of my shows, that's Spreaker.com/HWR media.
Also, don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network. So for the luminous one, the shining star, Rick Star, I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching. I also like to remind you that Gulf Coast Wrestling presents the Rock in the House weekend live next month, featuring the Rock and Roll Express. Friday, June 28th at the Station Bar and Grill in Broussard, Louisiana. Saturday, June 29th at the KC Hall in Plaquemine, Louisiana. And Sunday, June 30th at the American Legion Hall in Abbeville, Louisiana. For ticket information, call 337-251-0546. 251-0546. Or please visit GCW-Gulf Coast Wrestling for more information.
We'd also like to let you know that this show was sponsored by Wank Wipes for that extra hour of Raw.
Stoke answers. Stoke answers. Stoke answers. Stoke answers. Spirituals medium. Stoke answers. Stoke answers. I'm Haley. Ring Rose. Stoke answers.
My name's Andrew Weatherall.
Spirituals medium. Stoke answers.